Hi everyone, it's Mike. This training video, I'll try and keep it as short as I can, is to introduce the new Ontario expense report that you'll be filling out effective Monday, this coming Monday. So I'm going to just walk you through where to find it and some of the processes around filling it out. So let me show you first. Stop. Restart at 28 seconds. Hi everyone, this is Mike. I'm just on here today to provide you with some training around the new Ontario expense reports that we'll be using. These will replace any previous processes and reports that we've been completing and should streamline it for everyone. So the first thing to know is that the new report will combine the mileage and any out-of-pocket expenses. So the mileage tracker will effectively, the link will be taken down effective Sunday morning. So please update your mileage prior to the link coming down, and we will transfer over that mileage to the new form for this pay period. And future pay periods, you'll enter your own mileage. As I go through the training, you'll see how that's done. Effective Monday at 12:01 a.m., the expense reports will be closed off. So if you haven't submitted everything to Deanna or Mark by then under the old system through email, they'll be bumped ahead to the next pay period, and they'll be sent back to you to complete the expense report at that time. So try and get everything in before that. And starting Monday, everything will be on SharePoint. You will have your expense reports will save to SharePoint. You'll upload your receipts to SharePoint, and we will process them through there. So you'll have access to your old reports if you want to look back on them, and the old receipts if you like as well. So okay, so let's get started. First of all, how do you find your new expense report? So I've created a link on our Proto page. So I'm just going to open up a browser here in HomeSol Ontario. So anybody listening to this doesn't know about this page should bookmark this. It's protopage.com/HomeSol staff, all one word in lowercase. This has the key links for everything. Up near the top are the Energy Advisor links, and this is where I put the new expense claim, even though the expense claim can be used for anyone that works in Ontario, not just the Energy Advisors. You'll see the mileage tracker. If you've been doing this in the past, it's there. That link will disappear Sunday night, so please have it up to date at that time, and you'll start using the new expense form claim form next week to track your mileage, and I'll show you how to do that. You'll see the link here, expense claim form, so I'm going to click on that. It'll take me to an area inside of SharePoint. Now, when you do this, you probably will or should only see your own file folder, and then at the bottom you'll see the Ontario expense form here. Also, there's a link to the training guide, which I would strongly encourage you to look at. You can also get to these through the top part here, and I would actually encourage you to do that, save you scrolling down. So if you want to open a blank form or a new form, click on the little ellipsis, open, and open in app. The form will not work in the browser, so you have to open it up in Excel. Okay. And you'll see it'll open on your screen. There are some instructions also in the process guide as to how to activate your macros permanently. If you're constantly getting a message along the top that says, do you want to enable macros, and having to click on it, it's important that you do enable them. But if you want that message to go away and just automatically enable, then there is instructions in the guide if you want to do that. So basically two forms involved, the expense form and the mileage tracker over here. So some of the features of this, when you open it, it will automatically insert the pay period it's applicable to. At 12:01 on next Monday morning, it will switch to a new pay period. So if you try to sort of slip something in after that deadline, you won't be able to. You can submit the one expense form per pay period, and if you miss it, you'll have to hold on to it till the next pay period and send it in at that time. So anything up here in the brown areas will fill in automatically. So the first thing you want to do when you open this is find your name and select it. So I'm just going to do my own name here. So we'll come down and find me. Okay. As soon as you've selected your name, immediately click on the save. And what's going to happen is it will basically flash a little bit, lock that in, and it changes the file name to your name, the pay period, and the actual pay period number up here. And that's so we can search and find these a lot easier for ourselves. And also you can find them easier in your own folder. You'll notice this has saved it in my personal folder here. So this new section has everybody. You won't see everybody, you see yourself. But once you save that template, it goes into your own personal folder with the pay period marked there. So as you do the next pay period, it'll be pay period 11, it'll save there. So you'll have ongoing copies of these. Your kilometers will be captured in these as well for that particular pay period. And I'll talk in a minute about what happens if you miss some kilometers before the cutoff. So anyway, so that's saved. After you click on save, very important that you pick your name and save it right away, because you're going to be affecting the template if you complete this without saving it, and it's important to get it into your folder. Okay, so that's where to find it. Now to start a report, again, you pick your name, you've saved it, and then just gather up your receipts. My recommended process is that you would gather up your receipts, put in dates. So let's just put in a few dates. Pick the category of the expense, and there's a drop down here with the I'll say approved categories. I think we need to add a few more, but initially this is what there is. If there's a question around you had a hotel bill and that's not an option, then put it under something else, but we'll explain it. So let's say on May 5th I was traveling to Home Show or whatever. I had meals, and I'm going to put a note out here that I had 3 meals that day. And what you want to do is total them up and put in the total. So let's say it was $56.65 for the meals on that day. And then on the 6th of May, I had meals again. This time I had 3 meals. And let's say they totaled $70. What you're going to see here is it will turn red. The limit for meals is $65 per day. You need to keep all the receipts. So each of these days you should have 6 receipts that you will scan and save, and I'll talk about that process in a minute. So you continue to work your way down here. Let's say I went a little over, so put in the maximum. If you're over, you'll still provide the receipts, of course. And then let's say there was another day and we had my phone bill or whatever. Let's go with the 7th of May. And parking. And I'm just going to go with one more here. 22. And let's just say there's a taxi. So there's $25 for a taxi and $10 to park. So in this case, again, you would scan them. You could scan all 3 receipts into one file. That would be fine. Okay. If you scan them into separate files, you're going to have to make 3 entries here for the 5th of May. I don't recommend that. That's more work for you. Not more work for us, but it would be more work for you. Just put them all in one. These you can scan individually, or if you can fit them all on a page and scan them together, you're still detailing it out here, but you'll notice there's a receipt number out here. So when you go to number your receipts, in this case, if you had 3 in one file, you're going to number it 3, 4, and 5 in that single file, the name. And I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. For the meals, you would, since you have 3 receipts in the one file, you would basically now if you have separate files for the meal receipts, then label them 1A, 1B, and 1C because they're on that line. If they're all in the same file, that's fine. The file name will just have the number 1. What the point of this is, on the receipts, we want to be able to tell from the file number which line it's referring to from an audit point of view, so that we can verify the receipts back to the expense report. It makes it easier for us, and should we be audited down the road, it makes it easier for the CRA or whoever is auditing us to verify these back. Okay, so you complete this down here. We used to have, I think we had about 12 lines, and I've expanded it so you have up to 20. If you need more, you'll probably need to contact me for that. We'll have to look at that one and see how to do it and get it in under the same payday. Okay, so as you put it in, it's going to total it up for you. Now down here, this is for prior kilometers. So I'll come to this in a second. Let's just look at the mileage. So, and you can come in and out of this as many times as you want during the pay period. It's just the first time you open it, select your name and save it. And you may not have any out-of-pocket expenses, but you might have mileage. So once you've saved it, you can reopen it from within your folder on SharePoint and open this, and let's say I want to put in mileage. What you'll see is that it will automatically isolate the current pay period. So the deadline Sunday, this is the current pay period for mileage. And this is a little change brought on by a CRA audit on the East Coast, that we're now required to keep odometer readings in our records along with the kilometers in total. So that's a CRA requirement, not something that we wanted to do, but we tried to make this a little easier. So the process here we're recommending is when you leave in the morning, set your trip counter on your car or truck to 0. Complete your trip. At the end of the trip, record the total kilometers. So let's say it's 125 kilometers on April 25th. And then look at your or jot down the closing number for the odometer. So let's say the last number is 131,256 kilometers that's on your car, and it will calculate the start. We felt this would be easier because you're going to collect both of these numbers at the end of your trip rather than collecting this at the start of your trip and then this at the end of your trip. So we thought it'd be better to do it here. So record your full kilometers on each day, just similar to what you do now. It's not dissimilar to the tracker you have, except now we have the odometer to deal with in here. So if you put in, let's say there was 256 here, and the closing odometer was 132. Oops, 132,000, of course. All right. Now for this first report, actually, no, by the time you get this, you'll have this information in your hands. So we're not really, for the purposes of what we're processing right now under the old system, we don't need the odometers, and you wouldn't have that information anyway. So just from your own processes, remember, mark down the trip and the odometer reading, the closing odometer reading, and then you record it in here when you do your mileage. So, and let's say in week 2 I had 125 and 175, and it was 133. Now you will notice, and 134. This assumes it takes out the personal mileage. So if you go on your trip and before you get back you do something personal, that's up to you to take that off of this total, the 125. So if you were going to, I don't know, to Renfrew and back, and the total trip was 256 kilometers, but you didn't go straight home, assuming let's say you lived in Manotick, you went downtown for some reason for a personal appointment, then take off the distance between your home and downtown as personal mileage and just net it out, just the business mileage in here. Okay. So after you finish that, you can click on this little link to return to the expense form, or you can just click on it on the bottom as well. Okay. This area allows you to record prior kilometers that you might have missed. So let's say you missed the deadline for putting in your kilometers on the Sunday night, which you can see is coming up, Sunday, May 8th. So if you miss that, then the next expense report you do, we'll pick it up on that. The only thing is, This one we have to have a start and an end. So we'll have to look at that, but we've got it set up this way for now because we wanted to give you that opportunity. So let's say I'm just going to 3250. Yeah, let's do that. So, and it'll figure out your mileage here. So we end up with prior period and current period, and then your total kilometers and claim for this one. Okay, I will look at this over the weekend and may make a change to that. Otherwise, we'll have you have to have you record both. But leave that with me. And then you're done. The total claim is the 606, which is the kilometer claim, plus the out-of-pocket claim if you have any. All right. And at this point, you're pretty well done. So you'd want to save it again just to make sure it's up to date. Okay. The other thing you can do, and this is strictly if you want to print it out, it's not required, but you can click on Hide Unused, so it sort of brings the report down to, I'll say, just the non-blank lines. It doesn't matter if you don't want to use that, but you can show everything, but it just gives you an option. If anybody that's going to print it, it'd make more sense to do that, be less ink used as well. Okay, you can go to the mileage tracker through this link and back, or you can just click on the things over here. So let's assume, and you can continue to add expenses to this form up until the due date. So if you're, let's say on Monday you had some out of pocket, so you put it in here for the next payday, obviously, but you don't want to submit it yet. You want to hold on to it until the end of the pay period when it's due, or close to when it's due, or when you know you have nothing else to submit. Now you're probably going to have mileage right up to the last day every pay period, so probably you're looking at a Friday or Friday night to finalize this and submitting it, so that has all your mileage and out-of-pocket expenses. Okay, so once you've finished, you said I'm done, I've saved it. Now you need to upload your receipts to SharePoint. So I'm going to show you the process here, but then I'll talk about how to name the receipts. So this assumes that they're already prepared. You've put them somewhere on your local computer that you would have normally attached them to an email. Now you're just going to upload them, and it's not going to go out by email. They'll already be in SharePoint, and the admins will find them there. So when you get ready, you upload receipts. It tells you here how to name the files. This is also in the guide, but it kind of shows you that for pay period 10, you can see up here, and my last name, and then the actual date of the claim, which is in this case, as I'm doing this, May 5th, and what receipt number. So this is just telling you how to name the receipts. This doesn't suggest that you're uploading one at a time. You can upload them all at the same time. It's just giving you an example of how you might do them. There's also some really good examples in the guide around this too. So please look at that, because we will be using this sort of format to do searching and to move things around and finalize them as well. So in my previous example where I said you could combine, say, phone, parking, and taxi onto one scanned page, this is the way you would name it. You'd basically you'd put in the 10, McClellan, May 5th, and you'd have its receipt 3, 4, and 5. So you'd say 3_4_5. So that tells us these are the numbers we're looking for on your expense report to verify it. Or if it's a single line, then you would put it here. So if it's meals, then you could label, and they're separate scan files, you can label it 1A, B, and C because you've combined it on one line. Okay. So again, read the guide. It's that's probably the only complicated part of this process initially, is understanding how the receipts should be named, so we can track them back and keep track of them in SharePoint as well. Your receipts will continue to be in your file folder sort of indefinitely, so it's just the 10 in front that tells us which pay period they relate to. Okay, so when you're done here, you say yes. And now it tells you, so it's going to open an Explorer window on your computer automatically, and it will open your folder in SharePoint so that you can put them side by side and just drag your receipts over. So I'm going to click OK here. So here it is opening. There's the Explorer window, and it opens SharePoint over here right into my folder. So I've got a spot to drag them. So when the Explorer window opened, I would navigate to wherever I've kept my receipts, and I don't have any to really submit, so I can't show you any specifically. But let's, I don't know, there. Let's say I was going to, these were my receipts. I'd scan them and put them somewhere on my local computer. I'd use the proper naming convention, so I just highlight them, the ones I want. You can do this by doing the check marks or holding the control key, and then just drag it over into SharePoint into your folder. And it will upload them over here and throw them in there. And you will have the 10 in front of yours, so we'll be able to see those as time passes and there's more files in here from different pay periods. We'll be able to isolate them with a search just on the bracket 10. Okay, I'm going to just delete these out of here for now because they're not relevant. Delete. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I think that's sort of basically it. That's the basics of how to do it. When you're done doing the second uploading receipts, then click on the submit when you're done. This has two functions. One, it will lock your file, so you won't be able to change it after you submit. The second thing, it will send a notice to Deanna, in this case, to say that your file's ready for review. If you submit your file, you know, you finish up, you say, I haven't got any more for this pay period, and it's a Tuesday before the due date, you can submit it early, and she'll get it and do the verification of the receipts and to the lines that you have in there, and make sure everything's valid from an audit point of view, and then we'll process them. So when you click on the submit, hold on for a second, pause here and chop 2219. Okay, picking it up at 2230. Okay, so now we're ready to submit. So let's click on that. And it tells you you can only submit one report per pay period. So once you've submitted this, you're done for this pay period. Anything else you find or have will have to be done in the next report. So if you're not ready to submit, click no. So I said, nope, not ready. But if you are ready to submit, you click yes. It's going to lock the file.